Hey everybody, it's Max J. Miller, co-author with Robert Hollis of the upcoming How Is That Working? And for the last few days I've really been challenged. And what I was challenged by very simply was examining the statistics of my record. I've got 70 videos out there, and for the last week or so most of my videos had like 1 or 2 views, and in the past my videos have gotten 25 views or so, something like that. And so I'm looking and saying, okay, well, what am I missing? What's not working there? And I came across a couple of statistics that were really, because I came across them almost at the same time, were really got me thinking. One was that the majority of best-selling authors achieve that distinction on their second or third book. The second one, before I comment on it, the second one is that the majority of successful entrepreneurs have failed in a previous business effort. Well, it's easy to see a possible interpretation of those two statistics as the odds are stacked against us. In other words, to conclude that it's a crapshoot as to whether you'll succeed in business or writing or whatever your dream is. But I see something hidden in the statistic that's really far more important to me, and that is that all the people that are referred to in those statistics are successful people. That statistic doesn't tell you anything about the people who wrote one book and never wrote another one. It doesn't tell you anything about the businesses, the people that started one business and failed and never started another. I'm sure that number is staggering, the people who wrote the one book and the people who started the one business. But what this statistic is actually saying is persistence pays off. And the person that wrote the first book but didn't become a bestseller, but wrote the second or perhaps the third and it became a bestseller, was somebody who apparently learned from their first experience and kept on going. The person who started a business or two before they had their real takeoff, launch, successful business, it looks like they learned from that and kept going. The key that I see in those statistics is that these people were persistent. And that message about the critical importance of persistence rings through loud and clear on virtually every page of this book that Robert and I have written. And Gloria Steinem once said, "We teach that which we most need to learn." I mean, who doesn't get discouraged? Who doesn't get confronted by how challenging life and dreams, fulfilling dreams, can be? And yet, the very thing that this book affirms, I'm finding myself wrestling with right here and now. I'm going, why have I only got 1 view, 2 views to the most recent video? And then, what is there? Not like what's wrong, but what is there for me to learn out of this? And another very important message right out of the book came out to me, and it came out surprisingly for me as the person who actually put pen to paper here. I read about half a dozen other books in the same sector. In other words, books that if you bought this book on Amazon, it might suggest these other books. So I read, and here's some of the titles. They're all about this new phenomena of micro businesses. These small, in many cases, one-person entrepreneur businesses. They call them solopreneurs, and about how to, with very little money, start up a business and build a business. There's a lot of talk about this. We're not the first on the market to emphasize this. The 4-Hour Work Week, which of course I've been talking about the last few days. A book called The $100 Startup. A book called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. A book called Duct Tape Marketing. A few years ago, there was a book called Guerrilla Marketing, and these are all about how to, basically build on a shoestring and develop from nothing or very little. But there's a really critical, having just read those, there's a really critical piece that all of them emphasize, and that Robert emphasizes in our book as well. And that is the absolute essential quality of a business creating value. And of course that seems really obvious, but what I mean is how essential it is to not just have a good idea as a writer and just put it out there, but to listen to your audience, to actually be able to, maybe you do have a good idea, but in delivering it, in putting it out there, you got to be able to really hear from an audience or your target market what they feel, what their pain is, what the felt need is, so that when you deliver what it is that you're delivering as a solution or as the answer to that problem or that struggle or that suffering or that issue or that need, is that it's spoken to that felt need. And I realized that, in some ways I've been trying, because I took this commitment on, and this is like my 70th video, and I took this on, and didn't know how I was going to do it. I said anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. I didn't know how I was going to fill the time and so forth. And, suddenly it became a thing that I had to do. Like, I had to fill it up. And so, but I think at some point I stopped listening to what's the felt need and thought, well, I've got to come up with something to say. And so I just want you to know, I'm done with that. I'm really going to do these videos when I feel like there is something that I've heard of value that I can share based on what I've heard from my audience, the people who are looking to have that economic breakthrough, to break out of the 9-to-5 and so forth. So that's my new commitment. I really thank you, audience person. Please do leave me a note, ask me a question, challenge my thinking. I appreciate your interaction very, very much. Keep telling your story. Bye-bye for now.